to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an...
Hello and welcome to the brunch on Kerr Fatou Live. I am Lamin Cham. Our apologies, of course, for losing 1 hour due to technical problems with the internet service, but now that it's restored, we continue the program that comes to you every Saturday and that discusses current affairs in the Gambia. This week I'm privileged to have in the studio the Honorable Bolong Sonko, a retired international and national civil servant, a foreign minister, and now executive member of the Gambia for All political party. We will be discussing with Mr. Sonko about the current affairs within his party and in the national scene, politics, and of course any other interested matters. We will also revisit the Gambia Women's Lives Matters, who have just completed a protest march against what they call as a high maternal mortality rate in the Gambia. So sit back and for the next hour, follow us on the brunch Kerr Fatou Live. Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Sonko.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me on your show.
Good. Being your first time, I will really start by letting you tell the Gambian people who is Bolong Sonko. I mean, your educational and professional life, and then your life as a politician.
Thank you very much. My life as a politician is very short, it's very limited, at least it's just started. But actually, I came from Nyomi. I was born in Nyomi and went to school.
Which village in Nyomi?
In Sika.
Oh, Sika. Okay.
And went to school in SL, that's Lower Nyomi, where my dad was working. And from there, I went to high school in Banjul, Gambia High School.
Okay.
And from there, I went to university. I studied first in France, Then later on went to UK, specifically Glasgow, Scotland, for postgraduate studies. On my return, I worked as a civil servant.
Where? What was your first?
Many places. In those days, when you come back and want to work in the administrative cadre, they normally would post you to different places.
Yes.
Partly for you to know how the system works, but also to have experience, basic experience of administration. So I started off with the local government ministry as an assistant commissioner.
Okay, which division? At that time, they call it.
I was in Western Division. I started off with Brikama, and later on went to Mansakonko.
And this was in 19?
This is 1980s, 1979,
in the 80s.
1980, yeah.
You started first in Brikama, Western
Yes,
Division.
Yes, and during those days, you have they give you a lot of things to do, like registration, for example, conducting elections.
Yes, generally local government used to do that. Yeah.
Taking care of the cases that come up or land dispute issues. So those are all areas that affect the local communities.
And an assistant commissioner, those came to you.
Yes, so actually these are opportunities to learn how those people live, but importantly also to know what those challenges are at that level.
Who was your commissioner in Brikama then?
Then it was Suleiman Masane Sise.
Oh, who became minister? Later minister on the...
Okay, yes.
Later became minister.
He was minister, yes.
Of course, he's now late, of course.
Yes,
he died.
Late,
and then in Mansakonko, was it?
In Mansakonko, yes. I worked also with late Mr. Jobate.
Oh,
Mohammed Jobate.
Mohammed Jobate.
He's also...
Late now.
Yes.
Yes, so local government, you went where?
And from local government, I came back and was sent to Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
So I worked there for some time. Then I had to go for my postgraduate, and when I came back, I worked for some time at the Ministry of External Affairs. So from External Affairs, I moved to the new ministry that was created. That's Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources.
Okay, yeah.
I stayed there for a longer period. It was a new ministry. And from there, I went to, at the rank of Deputy Permanent Secretary, I was moved back to External Affairs.
Foreign Affairs.
And spent some time there, only to be redeployed at the Ministry of Natural Resources, Environment and Natural Resources as Permanent Secretary.
Okay.
So I spent some time there and then subsequently moved back to External Affairs, then, as we call it then, as Permanent Secretary.
Good. And that's where until the coup of 94?
Yeah, the coup of 94 found me at External Affairs as a Permanent Secretary.
You were made Minister of External Affairs?
Yes.
Immediately after the coup, is it?
Yes, actually it was a situation where most of the people, if you are handling that portfolio, especially External Affairs being what it is, it was reasonable that you put somebody there who knows the system then.
Okay.
So I was there for some time, I think about 6 months or so.
Yes. Okay. So since you left government, I mean 94, 95 it must be, as foreign minister, what else did you do?
I was retired. I was retired actually, so I enjoyed my pension, though very small.
Yes.
Then once in a while I would do consultancies as and when they come.
Okay. Now, immediately after the changes of 2016, the PPP, which both you and members, your colleagues now in the GFA belong to, had this for the first time, a big Congress, etc. We all know what happened, the PPP split, so to speak. Now you find yourself an executive member of the Gambia for All, which prides itself of composing of people like you who have tremendous experience in public service management or governance, etc., etc. Now, can you tell us about what inspired the whole lot of you people, some former vice presidents, some former foreign ministers, some high-level senior civil servants to come and form the Gambia for All?
Okay, I just want to add first of all that it's not just former ministers or former civil servants. Okay. We do have others who have not been civil servants, but also who are lecturers, who are professors in
yes, I really want to emphasize the cadre of the...
But I think the main challenge to us was to see the Gambia where it is, what we think needs to be done, and if we think that needs to be done, then you have to do it. How do you go about doing that? Because it's one thing taking a passive position, saying this is not working right, it should be done this way. But if you stay in your bedroom and say that, or you sit in the parlor and say that, that's not of much help. I think the country is in a situation where it demands practical actions, practical solutions to issues. And that's the challenge we gave ourselves. We think that things could be run much better based on the experience we had before, and also based on the accumulated experience of the wider group. So we think that we can propose better solutions to address Gambia's problems, which we unfortunately haven't seen in policy terms from other parties. Because as you will realize, forming a party and running it is not an easy matter. So there must be serious challenges that would lead you to take that decision to form a party, especially for people who have retired from the service. And the primary objective is not really to get a job, because you've done your service, but it's to right
the wrongs.
Provide, so many wrongs, but improve and work on and put the country on a footing which would respond to the aspirations and also provide a better future for our young ones.
So that's the idea behind the formation of the Gambia for All.
Yes.
Now, since your formation, how have been the reaction or reception from the public? I can tell you, I've come across views, I talked to a lot of people who said, well, the party really have, among its leadership, competent and highly qualified personnel who can really make a difference in governance and in many systems of government. But then, of course, there are people who argue that maybe because of their age, the generation gap has gone that, and of course the existence of already, political groupings. How can you maneuver yourself to get the necessary, the required relevance and support to influence, matters in the coming elections? How do you react to such perceptions?
Yes, I think the relevance of a party is determined by the solutions it proposes to the current problems the country is experiencing.
Exactly. And not necessarily
and not necessarily the age.
Yes.
And that is why, as a party, we have very little time. We have no time for insults.
Yeah, exactly.
We have no time to quarrel.
Yeah,
we think there are serious problems that need to be addressed. And that, to address that, needs education, it needs experience, it needs commitment. These are the things we should look out for, and these are the criteria we use. We think it is very unfortunate to introduce discrimination in one form or other. These good ideas can come from young people, it can come from women, it can come from old men, it can come from young men. But the fundamental criteria that should be used is, are the ideas we are proposing relevant to this country? Are you identifying the country's priorities, and how do you plan to address those priorities? I think that should be the criteria to use. And really, we have spoken to many people also, but we've had a lot of discussions with the electoral base. Our party leader undertook a countrywide tour, and that took him to almost 400 villages in the country.
And that's Bakari Bidabo.
Bakari Bidabo. And at all these meetings, people received our ideas as relevant, because these are basic problems they are living. And the advantage is that it's not, what we are saying is not something that we are dreaming about. These have been done in the past. Except that what we're now proposing is even doing better.
I see.
So it's not something new.
So in other words,
and they will connect easily with us.
You are not a group of young people who are chanting slogans, but you actually lived and experienced these things, and you have ideas that can even do it better.
Exactly, exactly. And that is, I think it's a golden opportunity for our country to have people running the government who are experienced, who are educated, who are committed to the needs of the people, not committed to your pocket, or not committed to a tribe, or not committed to a family. The Gambia is bigger than that, and our responses to the challenges must have that wider perspective, not the narrow time.
Yes, so on account of that, you said the GFF found that, well, there is a gap in the political arena. I mean, you believe there are, you do not see the policies that will really salvage the country, so to speak, among the programs of other political existing ones. So you think that in order, instead of sitting down and commenting that things should have been done, where you took the bold initiative to come out and said, look, we have the solutions to these problems if you give us your votes. Now we are coming into elections in just a couple of months' time. Not long ago, we had the Gambia for All propagating that you would not mind a coalition or an alliance of what you call light-minded parties or individuals. What do you mean by that?
Okay, first of all, our party constitution provides for such collaboration between parties that have like-minded. We have our basic philosophies, in terms whether it is in governance structure. We have our beliefs about the economic system that we should use to run this country. We have ideas about how, like, the civil service should be run. So where parties have similar ideas, we are in a position, our constitution gives us the right to work with those parties. But what has made our statement important in this context is that the recent developments, particularly the alliance between NPP and PRC, we think is a serious matter that needs to be looked at closely, because it runs the risk of undermining the stability we have in terms of the commitment that nationally we undertook to respect the rule of law in the processing of grievances and offenses that were committed during the last regime.
Well, you've come there so soon. I was going to come there, the party's perspective about that alliance. But, okay, you said, when you said like-minded groups or individuals, you mean people who share your policies. Now, most people will also consider groups, political groups, which also have, let's say, massive support, or some we consider to have a lot of support or supporters. You don't think numbers also count, even though you may not agree with this party's policies, but you believe they have the numbers already in their fan base, and we can work with them perhaps when we bring them, so we get the numbers. Or according to you, that's not very important?
No, numbers are definitely important, and that is one factor we look at in terms of coming together to increase the number.
Exactly.
But if you have strange bedfellows, because when you have the country, you have to rule it on the basis of policies.
In any way, yes. You have to deal with everybody.
Otherwise, it won't go far. So it is better you have like-minded parties that have similar policies and would be prepared to pursue those policies once they are in power. It is not enough just to have numbers, to say I have numbers, but when you have policies that run at variance with good governance, when you have policies that undermine the liberal economic frameworks we have, when you have policies that don't respect the creativity of the individual, then really to be associated for the sake of association is just to go into politics, is just to try and win an election. I think elections are a means of getting to power, but more fundamentally is to implement policies that you believe in and that are good for the country.
Now, how far have you gone since you announced your party's intention and consideration of an alliance that fit that criteria? How had been the reception? We had your party and two others have started engaging or have started talking about engaging others to have a meeting on this possible alliance. How far have it gone? I'm sure you cannot disclose everything, but then of course, have there been approaches or even...
No, I think what we have done is to make a policy statement.
Okay.
We are available, and certainly both within parties or individuals have said, well, that is a good move, because we have similar objectives, wider objectives that should allow us to come together. Now, in terms of who we are talking with and who not talking with, I think I would want to leave that to the parties. They will say if they feel it is time to tell their base or inform the public that this is a process that's ongoing. But our doors are open and they remain open, and we are committed.
Now, let's talk about this. You mentioned this is only more important given the rise of what everybody has described as really quite strange. Some describe it in even more derogatory terms. That is the alliance between the NPP of President Barrow and APRC, well, as they want to call it themselves, of former President Yahya Jammeh. Many commentators believe this is, like you said, people in the opposition, people who really are all opposed to this NPP, and said this is an alliance that really amounts to the greatest betrayal of the Gambian people. Because why did we chase Jammeh in the first place was because we knew we disagreed with his policies, the way he was going. Now here is his party who are still propagating his ideas, and they still carry his burden as their supreme leader. Now we have President Barrow inviting them, just because he wants to garner the maximum votes to get re-elected. What have you, because the EFF, of course, we've seen the statement expressing concern about that, but why do you think that is so serious that it requires now every opposition party's attention now to come together to fight it, so to speak?
Yes, I think one important thing which you mentioned earlier is the fact that it's a coalition to get votes.
Exactly.
So where are the ideas, where are the beliefs, where are the policies? If you look at it, there isn't much.
Yes.
But more importantly, I think the country has gone through a lot of bad experience, which the TRRC has brought out to confirm what we suspected, what we believed. TRRC has given us the opportunity to really have first-hand information about that. And I think nationally it's been a traumatic experience, sitting down and listening to what is being said on the TRRC. The Gambian people have been very patient. They have been very much law-abiding because they submitted themselves to the process of law and order. They accepted that despite the wrongs that have been done, some of them outrageous, they accepted to process this through an established legal procedure by accepting first to have laws passed at our highest lawmaking body to set up the TRRC and trying to have people of distinguished character to serve them, and giving the opportunity to anybody who feels he has something to say to inform all Gambians. So we cannot sit back and say as a country or as an individual that I don't know. If we have gone through all this process, I think we should have allowed the process to take its normal course. The report is written. We don't know what it is saying, but allow it to finish and we see what measures are being taken. But almost undermine that process by allying with people who have said openly that who have rubbished, in fact, the TRRC, that the report should be thrown in the dustbin, or comments to that effect, I think is a betrayal, is being very insensitive to the victims and their families.
Listen to what President Barrow had to say today. He said that allying with APRC is the best for reconciliation. Is that true?
It's
how truthful is that?
I I don't want to say whether it's true or not, but I'll give you a good example and come back to that. You know what Hitler did? Do you think it makes sense for the Allies to say we are going to form a government with the Nazis? No, because there is reconciliation, we may have reconciliation with them now.
Inconceivable, yes.
Huh?
That's
inconceivable.
Yes.
Okay, I have magnified that to really project the meaning. So to say there is alliance on the back of the victims, in the light of the experiences we have gone through, really, I think we need a better terminology for that. It's not reconciliation. That is getting votes at all costs.
You call it getting votes at all costs. Now, what about well, let me tell you another school of thought for why they justify this thing. It is many people believe that, okay, Barrow is actually playing in a game. Because in looking at the situation, most commentators said it is Barrow who will be the last person who will wish a return of Yahya Jammeh, given the fact that he knew very well that it may be dangerous to the stability of the country. It may make there could be more polarization, and Jammeh being who he is, his very presence can bring instability. They said Mr. Barrow knows this very well, so he probably is just playing a game. Let me fool the APRC, rank and file, using their executive to get the votes, and I do what I like when I get my second time. You believe he's playing a game, or do you really think he's serious about integrating the APRC with his next government?
I think those are hypotheses that really wouldn't stand any tests. If he is fooling the APRC, I think the APRC are smart enough. And I think, judging from what we hear in the social media and things like that, I think even within APRC, there are challenges, there are voices that run counter to this. But we can only judge on the basis of what we have and what we are sure of. One, he has formed an alliance with the APRC. They have signed an agreement, and nobody has seen that agreement. So why is the agreement being kept secret? Well,
they said the coalition 2016 had the agreement kept all the way, so they have every reason to keep it. That's nobody's business. But like you said, many people already said they are the ones who need to convince people, so they should come up with the agreement. It is not out. They said they want to give it out.
Yes, the issue is not because X has done this, I have to do this Y. We had thought that we would reach, if you talk about transparency,
yes,
if you talk about moving forward, if you talk about accountability, those are sort of information that the public needs to know. Because they have a major stake in this. The victims have a major stake to know, why are you allying yourselves in this way? It would have been a different matter if it's another party.
Oh, okay, yes.
That's a different, I mean, parties can associate them.
Yeah.
And it would have probably been different if APRC hadn't made some of the statements they made with respect to the TRRC.
TRRC and other things, yes.
And also Jammeh coming back and things like that. The basis of Jammeh's departure are clear. And I think President Barrow knows that more than I do. So to turn around now and say you want to associate with APRC is in fact almost like undermining the very policies you stood for.
That's what. So that's everybody's surprise. That's
exactly.
That is what led to
try to put some intelligent guessing or hypothetical situation or question or interpretation. I think is mere academic exercise and nothing more. We see and we act on what we have seen.
We have seen.
Yes.
And not what they are internal, whatever game they are playing. No. What is in the public domain is that he is aligning with the very forces on the basis of which he came to power.
That's right.
Interesting. Okay. Now let's move on. You mentioned the position of your party is that there is going to be a need now for alliance who are working on a common objective to unseat the government, to see this as a big threat. In which ways do you see as a threat? Quite apart from the fact that you believe it's undermining the very process, especially the victims. What other areas do you think is a threat? Some people believe it can even bring instability, like
because the presence of Jammeh at the present time, victims have not had any satisfaction, and then you are saying that he's going to come back. It's a major source of instability. That is why, in the first place, he was exiled to Guinea, to Equatorial Guinea, to allow the country to have peace and reconcile with itself. That reconciliation process is not complete.
Yes.
Now you bring him back.
Well, supposedly he said he's going. I mean, the thing is, what I find difficult is that, well, to be frank, to be honest, President Barrow, or to be fair, President Barrow said he alone cannot facilitate amnesty, as he said to President Barrow. It has to take government and the legislature. He said that. Okay, some of his officials in the NPP said there is no agreement, according to them exactly. This whole thing about Jammeh coming back, being central to the agreement, is total fantasy, which means basically to say that they have no such thing in the agreement which says he could come back. But the APRC have said categorically that any negotiation between them has to center on Jammeh's coming back. They insisted that is in the agreement. So now, where do we stand? I mean, if Barrow said, I alone cannot bring it, the APRC said, any agreement we had is based on Jammeh's coming back. Who do we believe? According to you.
The issue is a simple matter. If the two parties are themselves contradicting each other and they are addressing the public, because these statements are being voiced over the media for the attention of the public, we ask a simple question. And this one is not as GFA.
As a Gambia. Logical question.
I say I am getting confused. Please let us see the memorandum. We know who is saying the truth, who is right and who is wrong. It's as simple as that. And as I said earlier, it is in line with the transparency. We have to try and have that culture, build that culture. Agreement, whatever agreement.
Well, they said they owe it to nobody. That's between them. So nobody's business whether they bring it out or not.
No, because this is something that will impinge on the running of the state. Okay. It's not a private matter. This is something that has potential to impinge on running the government. Because you said, the president said he can do it, the legislature, this son and others have to be involved. Yes. So that's a state issue. Why do you hide that? Because if it goes to the state issue, it has to be done, then it has to be said, then the papers will be brought out. So why don't we have that agreement now? People will be, some who see it, and what like the NPP is saying, if it is right, will be reassured that this is not involved, even if you have very strong reservations with respect to the agreement. But we'll say, okay, but the agreement, this is what it says. But keeping us in the dark, because it's a private property. It's not a private property. You are addressing the public, and the public has a stake in this. Yeah. The future of this country has a stake in what happens now and how they reach government tomorrow.
Now, you also work quite a long time, as you said, in the diplomatic and international arena. Since this coalition, or whatever we call, between the APRC and Mr. Barrow came to light, there have been reactions all over the world, and many believe that this has started to damage the international reputation of the Barrow government and Barrow as a person, given the international goodwill, that came to him in the wake of his victory over Jammeh, whom many people perceive was a dictator. So, in your experience, do you subscribe to the views that this can have international implications for Mr. Barrow's credibility?
First, I want to say I worked as external affairs, and certainly in diplomacy a lot rests on trust, because with all is said and done, a lot depends on the trust that people have, the two governments and the presidents have for each other. So I think Jammeh's case is one where the sub-regional heads of state took a decision on the basis of what Gambian people sought to have, peace, stability, and then move forward after having addressed the past. But the risk now is that may not happen if what we are seeing at the end of the day becomes a reality. So certainly at that level, I'm sure some of the heads of state will start wondering, or some of the countries, what's happening? Because this is not what Gambians fought for, and this is not why they spend so many millions for us. Just to revert back to the pre-2016 period.
Okay, moving on now. There are, not long ago, Amnesty International came out with a report that suggests that according to Amnesty, there are concerns that President Barrow failed in his promise to guarantee so many things as far as human rights is concerned, the freedom of expression is concerned, and they also said that the implementation of recommendations of the TRRC and all those transitional justice matters most, and they believe the president has failed on his promise to work on human rights. The government has come out to say the report is erroneous. A lot of strides, improvements have been made, and a lot of laws have been made to improve the situation, even though they said there are still laws, but they have already expressed intention to abrogate those laws, especially dealing with freedom of expression and the work of the media. But then the media still feels that as long as the laws are there remains a threat for them to be used, even though the government said they have never used all the laws that are still there, are yet to be taken. They have never used them against media. How, in the perspective of the GFA, do you take this Amnesty report and the government's response?
No, actually, we at GFA have a lot of respect, I would say, but we also demand and expect a lot from the journalists. And in that context, then we must also provide for a condition and environment that allows them to perform their job properly. And I think draconian laws are one major hindrance, even if you don't use it. And we know governments, if it is there, they will not use it. But the day they want to get hold of a journalist, they will invoke that particular law, and then they will say, yeah, what is legal? I think any law that is draconian is not good. It should be scrapped. Yes, we should remove it from our statutes. Having a free press has not brought down the government of America or the government of Senegal.
Yes.
We've never had when these journalists brought this government down.
Well,
I've never had it.
Yes, that's right.
But they play their role. They will say their views, and also accept that the readership, they also have intelligence.
Absolutely.
We know when you talk sense.
Yes. And when you
public will know, and when you don't, we will know. So please leave us that judgment to us. Certainly, the situation is different from how it used to be under Yaya Jammeh.
Yes, that's
definitely
that
has improved. But what we are saying is it should be much better. We don't expect journalists at this after 2016 to be harmed, to be beaten, to be harassed.
Yes.
I think we should pass beyond that. Journalists played a big role in this struggle, I must say.
Absolutely.
And they have a big role to play in the development of a country, particularly in countries like ours. No section has a monopoly of good ideas, and we are all patriotic enough to want the future of this country.
They also said where President Barrow have failed is his promises to ensure that human rights are fully restored. But they said he didn't do that because there exist within his government people who are known or thought to have taken part in the atrocities of the past. Is Amnesty right on that?
Well, I'm not here to justify Amnesty's right, but what I want to say is that those are some of the concerns of the Gambian people. That there are people who have committed atrocities. We're trying to sort that out. TRRC has made a report. Even before any decision is taken on that, and then you want to come round. So it's something that really we are concerned about, the Gambian is concerned about, and our party is very much concerned about. We think we have had an opportunity to go beyond where we are today, and to take the present status as a cause for triumphalism, I think is exaggerated. We have a lot of work to do, particularly restoring the rule of law, restoring transparency, and recognizing the priority of the Gambian people. Those are important, and any government, if it doesn't do that, really is doing a great disservice to the Gambian people.
Yeah, let's go back to the GFA and your proposed intention or readiness, or doors open to negotiations for a coalition of what you say like-minded things. You said, of course, you will not go into details to who is meeting who and who is. But do you have a preference, like among the key players or parties in the scene at the moment? Do you have a preference, like which party do you think more similar in ideas to yours?
No, I think we have defined our criteria in terms of ideas that our party believes in. And anybody who comes, we look at what you stand for. You look for what you want. And then based on that, we can form a partnership. You call it alliance, you call it coalition, you call it something. But we can work together to ensure a systems change.
One of the problems that dissect the opposition in coming together, or whenever they are working on the process of coming together, is to who will lead? Who will lead? Of course, we had that the 2016 coalition, issues like that came up, but they had to resort to a convention where, equal representations from each of the parties was made to select a flag bearer for the entire coalition. But people now criticize that method and said not much scrutiny has been done as to the background or other qualifications of the candidates. That's why they said, critics of Barrow said, that's why we have people like Barrow. Now they are saying, we have one or two political parties say that any coalition coming now should check on the competence of the leadership, of the leader, of the eventual leader of that coalition. Don't you think there will still be a problem as to who will lead this coalition of, as you put it, like-minded people, if you get them?
Well, I think we have two advantages. One is we have had the experience of 2016, so you can learn from that. But number two also, we can say leadership, that's going to be a challenge, but that's the essence of discussion. And that's why this element of like-minded comes in. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. That's very important, and it's crucial that we get it right. We don't want a coalition, we don't want taking over a power, and then next minute we have something, a different policy, a different ball game. So I think we look into that very seriously and very closely. But those involved, I'm sure, will be inspired or will learn from the deficiencies of 2016, if you can call it deficiencies in quotes. We'll look at the limitations and learn from the good sides and what we need to avoid.
Would you like such an agreement to be now? Before we've talked to some people who said perhaps the best time is after the nominations, when the key players or those who are really serious are known. For example, there's a general view that almost the majority of all these people coming up, either they are parties or individual independent candidates, are not serious because they may not put up candidates in the election. So somebody suggests perhaps the best time to talk about coalition is when the nominations are done and we know who are serious, who really put themselves up. Or would you prefer any agreement to be, to be made or to be achieved or to be attained before the nomination?
Yes, I think it's better because these discussions take time. So it's better we start working on it now. And that's the idea now, that we need to talk about it now and not wait until after the nomination, because then we'll have very little time. And already all the parties have spent so much, because even to get nominated is a lot of mobilization, a set of resources.
Yes.
So if you can address it from now, then at least all those will be coalesced, will put together, and then we have a focused approach and one candidate to support.
Well, what do you know, or have you heard about suggestions from diaspora, a member of the diaspora who said perhaps it's better to have what he called a third force, that is, in the political scene now, many people believe it is the UDP and a splinter group, NPP, who are competing for political office. But if you have a force that put all the rest together, perhaps you have an equal match. A 3-horse race. They said that will give more alternative. Perhaps may even have the upper hand, above this. What do you make of that?
No, I think those are all views that try to respond to a challenging situation. I think our position is that we are open to those things. And if you can bring in the bigger group to join your group or others who are another force, I think all the better. Then we can work together and then work against the NPP. But it doesn't have to be a third force. It can be a third force, but I wouldn't even call it a third force. What we try to do is really bring all the people who feel that the present situation requires the collective effort to have the results we need. So let them come together and work together as soon as possible.
Okay, let's move on to a matter that has just been occupying the airwaves, and that is the Gambia Women's Lives Matter. They've just been having a protest to highlight what they call the alarming maternal mortality rate in the Gambia, which deals with, of course, with health service delivery, which your party had strong ideas on. And at this point, I would like to invite in a member of the body who had just had a protest to come and join us and give us an update on that. But before she comes, your party has strong ideas about how to modernize or to, improve the health service system in the Gambia. How do you react to things like 204 mothers, 92 children, all dying, during or after labor? This is an alarming rate, of maternal mortality. Not sure.
I am shocked and depressed. I think it's very unfortunate that such things should happen. And I think that is why we pay a lot of emphasis on the health sector. It's a very important area. We have had in the past, we have experimented things that have worked in the past.
Okay.
Notably the primary health care program.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, these are things that address primary health issues at the community level. And a cardinal point in that process is this issue of maternity deliveries. How do we address that? Traditional birth attendants are trained to handle it at the earliest convenience. These are the issues that need to be addressed and reduce. Let us reduce it to the level of our ability and make sure that we provide the necessary resources to make it functional. The health system has collapsed.
When you say collapse, you mean?
It's an understatement. Is that what you want to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, at least there.
Absolutely.
So these are all not strange. They are not finding a solution to them. It's not a big problem. We have the experience of the past during the first regime. All the health centers you are doing, these were all part of the health program. They were not calling them hospitals. Simply, it stays within us health centers that are an extension or referral point for the primary health care programs. They bring people from the villages, traditional birth attendants that are trained, and they are backed up by professional medical staff.
The government says, they are working on, improving the health service because they've just even restored what the president had. They've been distributing ambulances, which they will call community ambulances, which they said will help facilitate easy access to healthcare service. I mean, do you discount those efforts as to be meaningless?
No, I don't discount them as meaningless.
Yeah.
But I think it's misplaced priorities.
Misplaced priorities.
Yes.
But ambulances will always be needed, actually.
Yes, it's just like expensive hospital equipment and things will always be needed. But where are your priorities? I think making sure that the women deliver in safe conditions is a greater priority. How do we address that? Where do we put our money in the health sector? What is the demand of the health sector? Then we'll start looking at the issue of ambulances. You have those ambulances for 1 year. Go and check after 1 year. In fact, after 6 months, go and check for fuel, unless the project is supporting it, providing fuel.
Yeah.
If not, you'll be standing there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a practice. So why don't we start from the base, climb up, address that satisfactory? Preventive health is the best solution. We address those issues, and then we climb up. Ambulances are necessary. They are necessary. If they give you, it is fine. But one thing the government needs to do, you have to determine your priorities.
Yeah.
Donors have their priorities, you have your priorities. And those priorities must be within a clear, defined policy that identifies and that addresses the challenges.
So, like I was said only a while ago, I mean the group that calls itself Women's Lives Matter have been busy organizing a protest march to highlight the bad situation of, according to them, how maternal mortality rate has been. And we're joined in the studio by somebody who will tell us about you yourself and how did the proceedings go today.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Cham, for having me on the show here. I am Isatou Sarjo, activist, and I'm also a member of the Gambian Women's Life Matter movement.
How did the protests go? I mean, initially we had the police denied you permit. What do you think led to their change of mind?
Well, I think the pressure was too much on them, because when we announced that we were denied to have permit to do the protest on the 25th, a lot of rumors were going on. Like people start talking on Facebook, on media, all media houses were talking about it, because they didn't give us any genuine reason why they didn't give us the permit. But instead they were like, you have to organize a press conference. They were even deciding for us what to do and what not to do, which we were not happy about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think, because they gave on the process, they changed now, they allowed you to hold the protest. So what did you do exactly? We saw some pictures online. What did you do exactly?
We were on the street today demanding the government to improve our health situation of our hospitals across the country. Because when you said Gambian Women's Life Matter, it's not about women who are dying within the urban area, but it's across the country. Because at times people will call you as far as Fatou to Basse, Bansang, people that you have never met in your life. And they think that it's necessary to contact Gambian Women's Life Matter to help them with, at times, blood or support. When you said support, like people, babies who lost their mothers during childbirth, we have more than 100 babies that we are sponsoring.
Let's go back to the basics, because when somebody hears that between September and now, 204 mothers died, 92 last week, now you're talking about 100 babies losing their lives. I mean, this is catastrophically high. How did you come by this data? How can one believe that what you are exactly saying is exactly the truth?
Yes, like when mothers lose their life during childbirth, women, most of the time their families contact us. And when they contact us, we normally even ask for death certificate to verify this, what we are saying on the social media. And we will again go and ask for permit if we can share it on social media for people to believe. Because I know this is Gambia. No one will accept to publish a picture of your relative who is still existing to say this social person dies while you are alive. So these are, we got evidences both in audios and documents and as well pictures that these women die. And at times the reasons why they lost their life during childbirth are so crazy. Like in a case of one woman who was given blood, but the nurses said they forgot to give her the blood.
My God, you should have been given blood, but they forgot.
They forgot.
And so how correct was that case, particularly in Brikama, where a woman was supposed to go on the cesarean operation and there was no light, there was no standby generator?
That's the worst situation ever, because we are here. I think any hospital that's there to save the lives of Gambians, not even women, but let me generalize it, there should be like a very good works on the ground that should save people's life all the time, to make sure that anyone who comes there to have a healthy life or to have something that will save you from the sickness that you are suffering from should be rescued. But in our hospitals, it's the other way around.
Now, what kind of cases do you encounter? Incompetence on the part of the personnel attending to them, lack of facilities, or lateness to turn up in clinics, and health centers? I mean, in most cases, what do you say lead? What could you say lead to this kind of?
Lack of facilities at the hospitals.
Lack of facilities.
Yes. Because most of the time, like in the case, let me talk.
But you may have a lot of facilities if the competence, if the staff is not really doing their job or they're negligent.
Okay.
You still have the same problem.
But like in the most of our hospitals, let me take an example like of Brikama Hospital. Like we have competent nurses there, I would say, because I have I one-to-one contact with them and I chat with them and I know their qualifications because these are competent nurses. But you get to see that they don't have the facilities that need to support their work. Like in the case of Brikama Hospital, they are blood bank. They have a very good fridge, but for donors will come and at the end of the day to give blood, to donate blood, but at the end of the day there will be no light and there is no standby generator. They will tell you. So I would say this is caused by lack of facilities. And that is why today in our protest, we demand the government to equip our hospitals. And when we said equip our hospitals, we don't just say let them equip them with old-fashioned equipments. We said modern-day equipments that have standard and that will be like world standard, that will make the work of our nurses and doctors across the country easy. And I think the issue of maternal mortality, government need to decentralize the development of our women, because we all know that our women are very important. They are our mothers. They gave back to our presidents, our nurses, and whosoever is a stakeholder in this country today. But why are they neglected? This is the $1 million question that we keep asking ourselves. A home without a mother is still not complete. So it's just crazy right now.
Who do you submit this protest or this message to today? Which government official came?
None of these government officials came.
None of them? Did you invite?
Yes, we did. It was an open invitation.
Okay.
That we invite all stakeholders in the country, that we are having a peaceful protest today at the from Alliance France to the monument. But nonetheless, we are, because the president is on tour right now, made the people's tour, so we are thinking of starting delivering letters to all stakeholders in the country, starting from the office of the president and to all political parties and CSOs.
Okay. You didn't talk about somebody going to the president's meeting today and handing over this message to him, or you think you would be allowed to do that?
No, we were thinking that somebody...
It's democracy. I mean, no one
yes.
stop you from doing that.
Yeah, we were thinking that someone from the Ministry of Social, Women's, Gender and Social Welfare will just pop in today as a surprise that we care about what we are saying. But to our disappointment, we didn't see anyone.
What do you make of their suggestions that some of them are thinking politically? They believe you've been used by politicians to embarrass them. Government with your discount.
Yeah, that is the funniest part of it, because me myself, as a young activist in the country who sees Gambia first than any other person, thinks that in future I may have kids and I want them to be born in a country that will be of better than the country that I was born in. Like I was born in the 90s. But me having kids that will be born in a Gambia that things will be just crazy is not what I'm praying for. That is why I put aside my our political differences to come forward and fight things that are necessary. We are not just shouting for the sake of Gambian women's life matter. And I will tell you this, Mr. Cham. Even on we have a WhatsApp page. If you mistakenly send a message that is a political message, we always condemn you. And at the end of the day, those are the people who will come back again and apologize to the whole membership that it was a mistake. There is no political party behind this movement. It's a movement of concerned Gambian women and men who came together to make sure that put things together as we wish to have.
I thought perhaps it is the GFA. Or
no.
But what do you make?
I think it's important in our complex society today that you have some of these organizations. They help to keep the government on its toes, but they also help to sensitize the public as to the challenges that a particular area is having. And it's important to have them, but also to see them as partners. I mean, if, for example, they want to, I would have expected today, if they have, because of the role they are playing, they want to present some document, a message.
Yeah.
I think they should have made the arrangements to see either the Minister for Health or if the president is too high,
they can go
and arranging the necessary protocol to present it. Because
it's not political.
No, it's non-political. This is, in fact, it's better if they stay non-political. You will destroy the organization once you inject in politics.
Yes.
You will work with political parties as an interest group. Yes, but not the organization as a political party.
So what next for the Gambia Women's Matter? I'm sure you still continue keeping daily records of these mishaps in our hospitals. What next will be? You, of course, will end up giving this message to one official or the other, or probably the president. What next would you want the government to do, or you yourself are going to do now?
Oh, we are thinking of having a countrywide sensitization, because looking at our engagements, we only stop within the combos.
So you mean all these figures are mostly from the Greater Banjul area?
No, across the country.
Across the country.
Because most of the time we have a Facebook page where people contact our members throughout. Like if they have concerns, issues or stories or issues that they want us to address it for them, like helping them with donors and or to take care of the babies who lost their life, they normally contact us. So the figures are across the country. But our next move is thinking of having a sensitization of women on the importance of antenatal bookings. Because most of the time, again, our women feel so lazy or like it's too early for me to start my antenatal.
You know, I think about that. I said there could also be a case of turning up lately in your pregnancy, when actually it's advisable to start it from the very first weeks of conception.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to do now, to have sensitization campaign across the country, talk to our women on how important this antenatal is to their health, not to sit there until the last 3 months of your pregnancy you want to show up to the hospitals for your bookings. This is what we are trying to do now, to make sure that it's across the country, and also for people to know the message that we are sending across, that is something important for their health. Because if you are not a victim, your sister may be a victim, your neighbor or someone close to you may be a victim. Yeah,
I think these are, if I may just put in, these are important messages that cannot be left to civil society organization. These are messages that should be an integral part of the communication awareness raising policy of the Ministry of Health, all through and at all levels. These are the basics that should be, by now we should know, the woman should know these and things are what is required. But there's a breakdown at some point, and now we have this situation. So it's something definitely that's required. It's important to sensitize these people, if that is a major one of the causes for what we're seeing today.
Sarjo of the Gambia Women's Lives Matter, well, we congratulate you for a successful outing. You didn't have any trouble with the law, isn't it?
No, we didn't have that.
So what's your message to the IGP who initially denied it?
Okay, we were very disappointed, I will say. Wow. In the beginning, when he said that we need to organize a press conference instead.
But there is changed his mind. Now at least you should congratulate.
That is the reason why we don't have the large number of people that we expect. Because the message...
But you had a sizable crowd.
Yes, but this was not the crowd that we expected. But I think because of the IGP turning down our permit till the last minute giving us permit is the reason why we don't have the required number of people that we expect to be on the ground. Because a lot of people are telling me that they're gonna send protest with a form and protest by tal. So I think IGP is because of the permit given to us late. That is why we don't have the number of people that and the time given to us again
was late.
Was
1 hour, was it?
From 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So yes, 2 hours. Considering the destination that people are coming from, people are coming from as far as Gunjur, Kachong, Brikama, and we know the traffic, how horrible the traffic system of the Gambia is. So if you are telling me to be at Alliance Française by 9:30, that's not going to be possible, you know. And most of these people are women. They need to do their house choice before showing up at the protest ground.
So you're still not happy? You think one day permits time is very limited?
Yeah, the time is very limited.
The initial denial really kept so many people away.
Yes.
Okay.
But Mr. Cham, I would say like one important thing that we need to put across the Gambians. Like, this movement is not a political movement.
Yes,
we are here for the well-being of our women. I am a single lady. I'm not married. And I'm expecting to get married anytime soon. But that won't stop me from advocating for the rights of women, especially when it comes to their reproductive rights. And we all know how important our women are. So neglecting them is something that's going to be like something crazy that we know, not every normal person will doubt. Why are they neglecting Gambian women? When they should be the...
Have you tried contacting the National Assembly too? I mean...
We haven't tried that yet.
Okay. Because that also can give you a platform to be had or to be taken seriously. If the National Assembly members, particularly the subcommittee on health, takes up your issue, that probably would be...
Yeah, I think from here we need to contact a lot of stakeholders to be put in a picture and know what is happening, because most of the time these people will be like, we only saw it on your page, but we don't know exactly what is on the ground. And for someone to take part in national development, he or she needs to be oriented and know exactly what is happening for the individual to take part. I think some of these stakeholders are left behind, but from now on we would like to bring all of them on board and know exactly what is happening in the country regarding the life of our women.
Mr. Sarjo, thank you very much from the Gambia Women's Lives Matter, and Bolong Sonko, an executive member of the Gambia for All. Well, one word or two about your planned meeting tomorrow, because you see the NPP are busy in Fonyi, the UDP in Saruja, the GDC in Kuloro, and I had you up to speak.
You seem to be very much.
Of course, I keep track of
That's why journalists are important.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yes, we have a meeting tomorrow in Brikama. Actually, it's organized by the two constituencies. It's not a rally as such.
Brikama, North and South.
It's North and South. So it's a meeting for the two constituencies. They wanted to have it separately, so we advised them to make it one for time and resources. So we look forward. I hope you will send somebody.
Yes, we will cover it. Sure.
Yes.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
We'll be back next week with another edition of The Brunch. Until then, love and charm wishing you have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
For all your pastry, bakery and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.